I'm here today with my crew, Team Ian from Mighty Memphre double search attempt. Has it been 3 weeks now? 2 weeks? I don't know. It all blurs together. But we're going to illuminate you to what happened on the water that night, August 27th. Okay. Overly dramatic at the moment. Let's see. So why did we start at 3 p.m.? Let's start there. Because people have asked me. The short answer is it just sounded good. I wanted to have some time to settle into the swim, and I wanted to get the night out of the way. And I think what was interesting, what it really ended up happening though that day, that I had to wait until 3 p.m. to start, that I was kind of wishing I'd maybe started it a little sooner, but it kind of worked. What did you guys think of the 3 p.m. start?
It was tough because you had a lot of wind, and I mean, the forecast was what it was. And I think, I don't know how you managed to keep it together until 3 p.m. because I know I would have been chomping at the bit to just get going. And I don't know how that impacted you. I'd be curious to know how that impacted you. But the turning in the morning made a lot of sense. I mean, it made a lot of sense. We were going to be swapping out pilots, and we, got there fairly early. We didn't want it to be pitch black, but, we had sort of a plan. So in theory, it made sense, but I have to imagine that was kind of hard to sit around waiting for it.
I think the idea of turning around, you had talked about turning around like right at the end of the night, early morning. So that worked out well because you get the night out of the way, and then you can swim throughout the day on your way back. So that was the logic behind it.
I think the other thing nice was an upside is everybody got to sleep as late as they wanted to. We had a very unrushed packing of the car, packing the boats. Like none of it felt stressed, so it really worked. It was very smooth in that aspect. I along with the other things, in hindsight, that was really lovely.
That was I guess part of that was my thinking too, is like, we're going into a night where we know we won't be sleeping any which way you slice it. So it's like, I wanted to sleep in. I didn't want to be rushed getting there. And I think I did kind of hinge it on like that turning somewhere around dawn, and it being like you're starting that whole second leg, but with the energy of a new day. So that was definitely part of my thinking. And I'm really grateful to Phil that he liked the idea too. He was just like, okay. And so we backed everything up with that. So yeah, that was kind of the thinking behind the start. And then as Nadine mentioned, it's like this whole thing with the wind, like going into it, first it was going to be a Monday start, and then it was going to be a Tuesday start. And the forecast, of course, kept changing. And Tuesday was forecast to have like 26-mile-an-hour gusts, which scared Phil. And well, all of it, nobody really wants to be out there with 26-mile-an-hour gusts. So we were trying to be patient, and yet also trying to get the tail end of like, so when this blew over, when would we be able to push off? And like maybe we even considered a later start on like Tuesday night, like maybe after the system blew through or whatever. And it just was unclear. Whatever was, even the day it was supposed to rain, it didn't rain, and whatever, everything just kept changing. So we kind of just, I think noon on Monday, we decided we're pushing off 3 p.m. Wednesday, and that was just it. And that actually was a big relief for me once we'd finally just set it. We were going to stick with the 3 p.m. We had a time set, and then it was like, okay, space and time to just like breathe and be present and be able to hang out with you guys. So that was good when that finally came together. But let's fast forward to we're on the dock. We finally get to the 3 p.m. start time, and there's a headwind right in our face. Darcy took this awesome picture of just like the little white caps coming right at me as I'm standing on the boat dock. We're like, yeah, push off into a headwind. But we knew it was supposed to die down or shift or something.
And it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, eventually. Yeah, it turned to a west wind, right? Or no, east, west. And it was coming from the west. It's going across. Because he took us, Gary, right, was our pilot, and he took us closer. Didn't he take us closer? It was my feeling that he took us closer to the hills. Yeah. What was it like? I remember, I think it was the second or third feed asking you guys if you were bored out of your minds. Yeah. Because I was kind of like, what am I doing here? Why are we here? Who thought this was a good idea? That's kind of how all my swims go. Once you push off, you're like,
I
what?
don't think I was ever bored.
Okay. That's amazing. It's a
No,
long
we
time to
were,
not be
I mean,
bored.
I don't know how the others feel, but I found, well, one, I really enjoyed watching how you handled things, the way you moved through different parts of the swim, the way you handled some feed issues and adjusted and adapted. So I felt like I was constantly learning something. But I also really enjoyed hanging out with Janine and Justine and the conversation and learning different things and trying different things when stuff wasn't working. And I really, apart from the 2 hours where I got to put my head down for a nap, I don't think I stopped thinking the whole time or enjoying it or, engaging with it. So no, I wasn't bored 2 feeds in and I wasn't bored 20 feeds in. So
Well, when did things start going south? It was, I was thinking back, I was looking a little at the feed plan. I think there was so I was doing Morton every 30 minutes, but then threw in a scratch at an hour and a half. But then I think it was the 3 hours or something when I had the green magic, the scratch between the lemon lime scratch and the green magic also it's a chia thing but anyway, it had just a little bit of acid in it. But those two things I think were the things that like made my stomach start doing flips. But what time was that?
Do you have the observer log? Because the observer log, I think, tells you when we're like, okay. And at that point, I'm going to guess it was 6 or 7 hours in because that's usually when it sort of unravels for most people.
Right.
And then we just start playing with, what do we got? What's working? What's not? What sounds good?
Yeah, I feel it was 5 or 6 hours too. Yeah.
So like 7.5 hours on the nose, which is good guesstimate for 8 hours. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, like, again, my reflection on the whole thing was just like, all of a sudden I had, I let you guys know that was my big growth thing that from Shasta last year is like to communicate with your crew when you're losing your feeds because this is energy and you don't have energy, you're not going to be able to swim. So let you guys know. And then like things just started materializing that I just sure didn't put in my feed plan. And so all of a sudden there's lemon ginger tea. I'm like, wow, that's an option. Cool. And that was your shift, wasn't it, Justine?
Yeah. Always carry that with me. I don't know, it's very soothing for the stomach. So I suggested we take that out to get something warm and soothing for you at that point.
That was clutch for sure. And then I think did the feed plan pretty much went out the window after that because we didn't really.
Yeah.
Well, we had decided pretty much, we had not decided, but we had talked about the scratch going out the window at that point. And then on the next feed, you told us you didn't want scratch anymore. So we were on the same page. So it started from there, adjusting the feed plan.
Yeah. Tell us what you came up with.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the little French treat?
it came on later, but because you had the raviolis, which you enjoyed so much, and because we knew we would run out of raviolis with the change of plan, we needed to figure out something else to give you so that you could swim as long as you needed to. And we knew that we had a bunch of mashed potatoes that Janine got. And I thought if we can find a way to give her mashed potatoes, we're golden because we have plenty of it. So at some point I was on the feed station and you just told me after your feed to be creative for the next one. I was, okay, damn, that's my window. So I just started to do little balls of mashed potatoes and I just thought I need something else. And you really love the Cheez-It. So I crushed the Cheez-It and then put it inside the little mashed potato balls and just crossed my fingers you would like it, because then we had the plan B for the feast to swap for the raviolis. So that's how it came up. And I just wanted to make you laugh. So I said, because I have a little bit of a French accent. So just said that they were croquettes.
And it was awesome.
One of the things we didn't tell you, and I think in hindsight, maybe we should have, is that we were really giving you the calories in your drink. that whatever came in the magic little red box was for fun, right? That's not the calories you were really swimming on. And would it have been better for you to know that, or you're trusting us that, and you felt good, so it was okay?
I don't know that I think the only thing, maybe sometime the next day, I started feeling a little bit just kind of like, it wasn't like full, like I've felt full on previous swims, but it was just like I think I was eating, thinking that that was my calories. And if I would have known that that you'd solved that problem by putting the Morton in the LMNT, I probably would have not gravitated to the box as much. So I maybe would have had would have had a different relationship with feeding, even. Like, it would have been probably a quicker affair as well. But tell us how that came to be. So that was another Justine magic. There's so much magic on this swim, wasn't it?
For the Mortine and with the LMNT?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you asked for the LMNT because
I did, yeah.
you wanted the salt. You really you sent the message very clearly that you didn't want sugary stuff.
Yeah.
And this is where we started giving you LMNT. And Janine, Nadine, you can just, I'm going off of my memory, but there was LMNT. And at some point, I just suggested that we add in some Mortine just to test if she was keeping it in. And this is where we started to mix both of them together to give in the bottle.
Yeah, and I guess just for listeners who aren't familiar, LMNT, the letters LMNT is an electrolyte that has stevia in it, so it's not very calorie rich, but and it's salty, which, as a savory lover that I am,
and it's flavored.
Yeah, and it's flavored. Yeah, but I don't get sick of the flavors the way I get sick of sweet flavored things. Like those can put you off like for lifetime, I feel like, but salty flavors. I'm still drinking LMNT post swim. Like, sometimes after like 4 or 5 hours of lessons, I'll do a little electrolyte replacement at the end of a day, and I still enjoy it. And that's unheard of for me, like to have a feed outside of a swim that I actually enjoy. So I'm a big fan of the LMNT. And it was really clever, I thought, that you put the Morton in there, which is kind of, for people who aren't familiar with Morton, it's kind of lightly sweet, but not any specific flavor. They call it lightly maple syrup flavored, which for any maple syrup person knows it doesn't taste like maple syrup, but it's lightly sweet in an offensive way. But it was really clever, I thought, to put the Morton, which has the calories, it's like 160 calories in one packet, in with LMNT. So then I'm getting the flavor of the LMNT, but I'm getting the calories from the Morton. So that's what we were talking about here with the like, that they didn't let me know that until the very end of the swim. It was divulged that I'd been getting enough calories all along.
And the other thing is, we had warm feeds the whole way,
Yes.
which I'm not sure that we all thought that was actually gonna happen.
Yeah.
And having a way to heat up the water so we could do that was really like, I don't think you would have lasted as long if we didn't have ways to give you warm feeds.
No, I agree. I don't like to know the temperature ahead of time. Even when you told me, when you did that little warm-up swim at Charlotte's before, and you told me the temperature, I'm like, la, 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 like I didn't want to know. It gets in my head if I think that it's just like, I just think we can fixate on numbers, and it's unnecessary to me. I just want to feel how it feels in my body. So when I kind of pushed off, and we'd had that rainstorm on whatever, little Monday, Tuesday night or whatever it was before the swim, and you'd told me it was 71. So I knew it had probably dropped below like around 70. And I just wanted to, I obviously didn't want to know, but I immediately, within whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5 feeds, they were coming out kind of tepid. And I was already like, I think I could use a little bit warmer feeds. And you guys had to jump in action because the thermoses just didn't really keep it warm enough. Is that what it was? Because we had lots of thermoses.
I don't think we made them warm enough to begin with.
Oh,
and
okay.
You were really great in the fact that you were like, this is not working. You were excellent at giving us feedback because we can't guess.
Yeah, it's so important that everyone out there listening hears that.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of things your crew can do on the boat. Right, we changed your feeds, we made them warmer, we gave you different kinds of foods. You took meds that wasn't in the original plan because you asked us or told us you wanted something different. So
I agree with Janine, and I think first. Oh, personally, I really learned a lot about the way you handled yourself throughout the swim. And that was one of the part, communicating very clearly, I don't know, there was something really, really strong about the way you carried yourself. And I took away that I'm going to learn to communicate better in my swims, because Janine is completely right.
A huge growth opportunity for me over the years. Definitely not something I've had the first, 20-hour swim 4 years ago. But anyway, learning, living and learning. Yeah, it's, I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is, if it's just a human condition thing, or if it's even sometimes I talk to a lot of marathon swimmers, and it's like, I don't know if it's just, we think we've got it. Like I wrote a whole post once on like, I can do it myself. It's like, was the title of the post. It's like, we think that we can do everything ourselves. And so for us to open up and lean into your crew and ask for help and tell them what you need is something we have to learn.
I learned so much more crewing than I do from swimming, like myself. So that part of it, but also like the amount of swims that I have seen get shortened because of a lack of communication or asking the question or whatever is heartbreaking, because it's not necessary, right? It's just not. And so, sometimes your crew can't do things for you. Like I had a swimmer in the Pacific Ocean at night ask me to give them a new left contact. No way that was going to happen. But so it's not that, we can always solve the problems, but at least give us the opportunity to help you. Because sometimes we talk ourselves out of it while we're swimming. Oh, there's, blah, 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 and there's nothing anybody can do, so I don't say it. Say it. You don't know what's on the boat and who's on the boat and what they can maybe come up with. This was a really creative group of people. It was awesome to sort of, problem solve all of us together. We all brought something very different and very necessary.
I got my dream team for sure for this one. It was awesome. The thing that I was thinking too, just as a swimmer, that I've noticed before is like sometimes though, like I'll have a feed and I think of something to tell you guys, but then I have like 28 more minutes to try to remember it. I don't always remember when it comes up the time the next feed. And so then I feel like this gets to be this backlog. And then at some point I'll just be like, oh wait, blah, 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 blah. I have to communicate all these things. But anyway, so I think that's an interesting part of it too. It's like remembering, and I don't know why I hold myself so strictly to like must only communicate during the 30-minute feed window. There's probably once or twice that I yelled something out, but I think that's just an interesting thing to point out too. It's just like you don't always necessarily remember. Like you'll think of something and we just swimming along and then forget, unless it keeps coming up, maybe. But yeah, communication and trusting your crew. And I think that's just an interesting one too. I'll just mention for people listening is like, it's been interesting for me, the dynamics. I've never had the same people on the boat at every swim. I've always had a different group of people. It's always been exactly the people I need, which is just been really maybe lucky that way. But knowing, like, I think because it's always been different people, I've forced myself to surrender even more and let go of judgment and expectations. And you just say it, where I think if it's a family member or a partner or even a sibling, like for you, Nadine, like lay it out with your sisters, right? But like we just have to, it's just, you just have to allow yourself to put it out there. Like, I think this communication is an interesting skill, for us humans, I think.
But you also, I think, needed, I think the one thing that you told us, and we kept teasing you to be selfish. And that was the theme that kept coming up, is you get to be selfish. It's your turn. You have to say what you need. You don't have to worry about us. We'll figure it out, but be selfish because it's your swim, So I think you did eventually, but we had to tease you a little bit along the way to make sure you knew that it was okay, because I think you're used to taking care of a lot of other people. And now you're letting people take care of you. And that's a big shift for people.
Very good point. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that you guys told me that and reminded me of that. Like that's all I needed. Need to be reminded for sure. And I think as a swimmer going into a swim, if someone's new and they're listening, just tell that, the person who's your paddler or on your boat, like, this is my day. I get to be the swimmer and you get to you're taking care of me. That's what you signed up for. Or let people know before they sign up that you're taking care of me this day. You're doing everything. So these guys didn't even let me pack the car. Everything was in the car when I walked out the door. So it's pretty crazy to be taken care of like that, and quite a gift.
Justine really enjoyed packing the car. So,
It's my guilty pleasure, playing Tetris with bags. So.
I love it.
I do have a photo of that too, if you need it. It was very well done.
I have one too. It was gorgeous. Yeah. Okay. So what else? So I was telling you guys before we started the recording, there's a gap in my memory from few feeds coming up, and then magically all the problems going away. And then at some point I walk out on the beach of the turn, but obviously there's an entire night there. What do you guys remember of the night before we eventually turned?
It was smooth. I mean, it was obviously not eventless, but it was really, really smooth, and nothing really sticks out. Once we figured out that you could eat, that you were picking up your feeds, you were super happy. Nothing comes to mind.
There was no drama. Like your stroke rate was right on. You were pretty quick on your feeds. It was pretty textbook, honestly. And it was a beautiful night. There were stars out, like we were enjoying that part of it. It was, there was, everything was running smoothly is what I'd say for the most part.
I was just looking at that. I remember,
is there anything in the notes?
I remember when the wind shifted, I remember being west wind and we like kind of hugged the shore a little bit on the way up, and then just being like this crosswind basically. But then it eventually shifted and I was getting the push. And then that was interesting too, because I was getting it was like turning into the banana and it was wreaking havoc on the low back kind of thing. But getting that push in was nice. But yeah, I guess once we kind of nailed the feed situation, then we feed started getting warmer, because I remember craving that after a while. I mean, we went back and forth between like every 20 minutes and going back to, and Janine, I remember Janine just being like, okay, we're going back to 30 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not, no, I still want 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was trying to push it and see, like, did you really need the 30? And at some point, you're like, no, I'm fine. Like, you went to 30. But there were points where you're like, no, I want 20. And it's like, okay. Because 20 is going to, it's going to take longer. And
especially when I had to open the secret box and I couldn't find the opening, like, the whole night long, like, right? Every 20 minutes, like that's going to take a long time. And it puts more on you guys as a crew too, because there's 3 feeds an hour instead of 2 feeds an hour. And we also had this situation with
it was fine.
Yeah.
Having rotation. We should talk a little about the rotation too,
go for it.
That worked really well. And so there were 3 of us. And so what we decided to do is go, I think, the 2-hour shifts or 4?
Yes, 2 hours.
2 hours. So every 2 hours, we changed roles and we shifted between being the feeder, being the observer, and then resting. And for some of us, that was sleeping. And for some people, that was just not having to do anything for 2 hours. And it wasn't that the person was completely checked out all the time for those 2 hours, but it also, I don't know, it was a nice way that you could be fresh. Like for me, feeding is the thing that takes the most amount of energy, and to only be on feeding would have been really draining. I just thought that for something that we were looking at that was going to could have gone over 30 hours, having 3 of us, I think this was a better option than swapping out crew at the end of the day. Because that's sort of the other way that when you have a very long swim that people manage it, right? They usually will swap out. This, I think, was, we literally changed seats. Like we had a napping seat, and then we had a feeding seat, and we had an observing seat. And I don't know, I thought that worked really nicely, which I think we did pretty, maybe 3 or 4 hours in, where we kind of were like, okay, let's take the one really comfortable couch and give that to the person who's off duty.
And then there was 2 pilots as well, Vera and Gary on the way up, and then Rob and Vera on the way back. Were they resting, and did they have a place to rest? I don't know. Yeah, we should get into that, did. But yeah. What was your? I was going to ask about their piloting, but I guess I remember it felt like most of the night I was playing tag with the boat. Then I know it goes in and out of gear, but it's like almost a game in retrospect. But when it's happening, it's so frustrating because you're just like, you're with the boat, then the boat gets ahead of you, and then you go catch the boat, and then you're getting ahead of the boat.
And in the dark, that's a different experience for the swimmer.
Yeah, it is.
And you were good. You were pretty. You were where you were supposed to be. I'd say 95% of the time. I can think there was a couple of points where you went like, I don't know, you're swimming to shore instead of you were swimming east or west versus north, which didn't happen in the light of day, but very few. And so, that was that part. You were a good little swimmer girl. You were where you were supposed to be.
Good, yay, good girl. Everybody who doesn't like to be a good girl, right? So we're coming, let's see. So we come to the turn. What do we have to tell about the turn before we got to get back on the other side at some point?
Well, you were incredible on the turn. I thought there would be some talking or some, not negotiating because you were in a good mood, but I mean, I thought there would be some reflecting or stopping, and you were, no, I'm going back in. It's warmer in the water. I'm going, and you were super determined.
I definitely, had played the turnout in my head a million times and had done practice turning on several other swims. So I was like, knew that was just going to be in and out. And I guess, it probably helps a ton that I'd, done the swim before, knew what the beach was like. I knew once the, weeds came up, there was still like 1,500 more yards to go. And, there's so many things that were so familiar to me. And then, it just wasn't going to dawdle because it definitely was not there. But just turned around, not necessarily thinking twice about the fact that what the nice little push into the shore was now a headwind. I think in my mind, in open water swim stuff, things change. If you wait long enough, things change. In this case, it just never changed. But Justine, you swam with me. How was it? Just like 30? It felt like so quick that you were in with me after the turn. Was that a whole 30 minutes?
Well, the reality is that I could not keep up with you.
You're I don't believe so that fast, for a second.
And you were still very much in shape, and you were you were swimming really well. I swam probably, my thought is 20 minutes with you or something like that, because the boat was stuck at the beach for switching the pilot.
Right. Oh, that's right.
So I swam with you until the boat was back and settled on your side.
Yeah, and then what? We're still doing mashed potatoes at this point with Cheez-Its, and I'm not knowing that I have LMT and Morton, so I'm stuffing my face every feed.
We gave you cookies.
Did it make you laugh a lot?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I was just going to say, the feeds may have taken a little bit longer, but from my perspective, what I saw is that you perked up a lot. The warm feeds, the fun feeds, the silly, what am I going to get in my magical box of red? I'm going to open up the mystery box and see what it is. And you seem to laugh more at a time where maybe you may not have been feeling great. It was probably frustrating to have to swim against the waves a lot. And what I noticed is it added some silliness to it and some fun. At least that's what I observed anyhow, is that maybe it helped from a motivation perspective and not necessarily a feed perspective. Because to Janine and Justine's point, we knew you were getting your calories. We were just trying to play and have fun with, it's going to be Cheez-Its and a Frito this time. And next time it's going to be potato balls and something different, and we're trying to keep you entertained in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I draw on that a lot. I think I'm a secretly a social swimmer like Janine. Like I pretty good putting my head down, but just coming up and popping your head up and talking to your crew is half the fun.
Well, up to the point where you even stopped at one feed to thank Rob for being there who was the new pilot, which I was amazed. She can be selfish by any mean. Even at that point in the swim, she stops and she's thanking people. You are very much in a grateful mindset. Yeah, that was very striking to me.
We were not prepared with jokes or riddles.
I know.
Which at some point you asked, and I was like, oh God. And I started Googling them because I was like, this is not in my skill set. I'm so sorry.
It's only so I hear other swimmers talk about it. That's the only reason like it even occurs to me to ask. I don't know. Maybe it's just the playful mood we were all in, trying to get through this headwind that just was relentless. So what point it felt like very much just like a march against the wind for most of the day, but at some point you break it to me that I'm going like 35, 36 strokes a minute or something like that.
38, 37 to 38. Okay. Yeah. And to put in context, you were stroking at 42. Is that what the average? I can't remember what the average was.
42, 43. Yeah. 44. Looking at the first couple pages.
The strokes per minute was really a nicer way of saying your speed had dropped more than half because of the headwind. So it was kind of a way of communicating like, you're going to need to pick it up, or we're going to really need to sit and look at all the food because
the food. Right? Do we have enough?
40 hours, right? Do we have enough food for 40 hours?
Right. Yeah.
And that wasn't to the people listening. That was not the joke. That at the current rate, it was going to be a 40-hour swim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I think from my perspective too, I was feeling just like the chill of being, like not generating enough heat in my body. Like even though the cold temperature wasn't, there's people out there swimming colder, but whatever. For me, barely turning the arms over, hardly moving, you're not creating a lot of energy to keep yourself warm. So I guess it just became this question of like logically what made sense, knowing the swim was going to be 15 plus hours more and the sun's on the other side of the horizon on the way back down. Like, does it make sense to keep going? So we tried, I remember I asked Justine to come in again and swim with me to get a little energy in the water, which was super helpful, albeit short-lived. But it was shortly. How long after this? Pretty much after that I was just like, we're good. How long was it after Justine got in that second time?
2 feet, I think. Couple of feet, maybe.
It really was. It was pretty apparent to me when you were in there. Even I could see you like stroking, and then it like you're trying to stroke at my rate, and I was like, I am not moving. I remember Vera too, just being like, "Well, you can tell you're moving because you can see the houses pass on the shore." And I'm like, "You mean that house is right there? That's still right there. That's not hardly moved at all." Like, oh, I guess you're right. It is kind of moving, but
yeah, you didn't take well to that one. You were just like, the house is still there. I was like, that one didn't go well. We'll move on to the next thing.
It was good. It was a very logical, very good suggestion. It just it just wasn't really it just wasn't wasn't going fast enough. So then I just had to basically ask myself, it being in for whatever, I don't know if it's irony or what, but it was exactly, I had 15 miles left, same thing last year in Shasta. I had been in the water not quite as long as last year, but so I'm basically in the exact same position about 35 miles into a swim. Am I gonna just keep pushing when I know I'm getting a little cold? I know I can't get my arms over, like the same situation I've been in, and or do I just call it and fighting because the wind it was just too much. It won. I don't know. So it was an interesting place to be in. Again, the second or third or fourth time in my life, but that's where I was, and we made the decision. Said, okay, that's it. I've had a good day.
I would like to give Vera a shout out at the end of the swim, because she's the one who said to you, "Are you sure?" And the second question she asked you, which I was like, "Oh, I have to put that one in my little skill bag." She's like, "Are you going to be okay with this decision tomorrow?"
Yeah, it was so great, and I was so
it
grateful
was
she
such
asked.
a great question. Yes.
Yes, in which I was kind of like, well, I think my statement to her was like, at the moment, I think that I will be okay with this tomorrow. However, I'm not sure tomorrow I'll feel the same way.
Right. But I think it was an excellent way of phrasing it and just being like, okay, this is, this is a big decision for what you've done
for the investment. And yeah, for sure. And then it was over. And then I got out.
I got on the boat and we motored back.
We motored back. I think that it was over. It was a good 25 hours out on Lake Memphre.
It was amazing to watch, Shannon. Like, I mean, I can't understand what that would feel like from the swimmer's perspective, because we're on the boat, we're not in the water, we don't know what you're going through. I mean, you told us a lot, but that had to be a hard decision to make. And it just was phenomenal to watch how you handled having to make it. You were still checking in with yourself, talking to us, making sure we kind of knew what was going on. You told us you were losing body heat at some point, and I just think that that's so important. That self-checking in and not sort of just focusing on, well, I'm not going to finish. It was a really, what's happening here, and should I still keep going? Does this make sense? I really learned a lot just from sort of watching how you work through the decision making and having to get out and do that. So that's just probably not easy for anybody. Different people do it differently, and I was really amazed at how you sort of just kind of came to that. Swam a little bit longer, had your last ravioli in the water,
right?
And still made a decision that was. But it was a beautiful way to end a tough swim, So yeah,
that was quite an adventure. And I don't, as I told you guys to tell me, along the way, it's like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And that's where I was in, it's funny because in the setup, it all seemed like everything's so perfect. Of course, it's just going to work out. But of course, you never know if it's going to work out. And in this case, the lake decided to throw a lot of wind my way. And I didn't think it didn't make sense to me to keep pushing into somewhere that into like a dangerous territory of body heat, like temperature dropping, whatever, just to maybe finish or maybe just go for another 5 hours and then decide. I just was like, I'm good. We even toyed around with, I think I'd asked you guys about like if we'd hit 36 miles yet, because that's something I've kind of plateaued at 36 miles. And you were like, well, we could go for another mile. And I'm just like, that didn't even make sense. Like nothing made sense to them. I'm like, I'm good. I've had it. Done with the wind. I think that's a wrap. That's what we did. That's what Mighty Memphre recap. That's all there is to it. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, it was a joy to be part of this. Thank you.
It's awesome to have you guys on the boat. I'll treasure Team Ian. I might want you back. Oh, be careful.
Janine's going to work on her cookery. We have lots of ideas. So, yeah. Justine's got more too. Yeah. I've learned a lot from here that I'm going to carry forward. I think we probably all have learned some things that we're going to carry forward into our own, for sure. So, I mean, I appreciated being part of it, just like Janine, and I appreciated learning from everybody on the boat, even Gary and Rob and Vera. And you take away a lot and carry it forward the next time. So it's just a great learning experience. Yeah,
absolutely. I'll carry that swim with me for a long time. That was a great experience.
All I can hope for any of us and anything that we're doing, that we allow ourselves to learn. And so how grateful I am that we could all learn from each other in this little this little box that we created for ourselves of going to swim in Lake Memphre. So thank you guys, and I'll have to follow up with each of you and your future swims here on Stories from the Water. Thanks for being here for retelling.